that kind of leads right into the next point, talking about praising the good behavior, good effort or whatever, is sticking to your word
Yeah.
and being honest. I think this is probably my live and die by principle as a coach,
Yeah.
is the doing the things I say I'm going to do and being honest, like tying those kind of together. Like if the kids know, or whoever I'm teaching, if they know there will be a consequence,
Yeah.
there's going to be one. If there is praise, they know that I mean it, right?
Yeah.
So whatever I say, there's no unpredictability, there's no bullshit, there's none of that. This is what we said was going to happen. This is what's happening, and there's no question. So they know to take what you're saying seriously. They know to take you at your word, and that's how you can build trust, where they feel like they can trust you to help them, and vice versa. Or if you're just a bullshitter, like that gets old real quick.
It's the worst, man.
Like it is the absolute worst. And this is something that coaches really, really, really are guilty of, because you get kids all the time that will say, well, my coach said I'd get this, this, and this, and I didn't get it, right? Whether it's I practiced on the power play all week, and then the game happened, I didn't get 1 second of power play. My coach said I'd be on the power play. It's like, okay, didn't need to be the case. The coach could have said, you're going to work on power play all week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're getting in the power play on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see how you do in practice, and then we'll see for the game, right? Now the kids know, right? So that honesty piece and sticking to what you say, good or bad, that's really, really important to being believable, being respected, and having the kids trust you, or whoever you're teaching trust you, right?
Yeah. It's very, very important to say that you have to be ready for the game 10 minutes before, so I can talk to you about the game. If you're not ready, this is this. Because what happens is you totally lose them if you don't stick to it's parenting, right?
Yep.
It's the same. That's what I find coaching is parenting. It's if you give a leash or you kind of wishy-washy, then you're done. No one will ever believe you and trust you. And trust is the biggest thing. Once you start losing trust, you lost them.
Yep.
Right. And the honest part, it's very hard sometimes. It's very hard to be honest with people, but honesty is there's you can put velvet on the sledgehammer sometimes,
right?
But when it's negative, But when you're honest with people, they know exactly where they stand, right? So sometimes you have to tell a kid that whatever, but I actually expect more from you, because that right there is not good enough for you, right?
And that's the other thing about the honesty part. That's a good thing to point out, is being honest doesn't mean being a dick, and that's one of the things that irritates me about people say like, I just tell it as it is, or I just say it how it is. It's like, okay, man, like you're talking to a kid, or even if you're talking to somebody you work with or whatever, saying I tell it as it is. It's like, I think that about me. I say it how it is, but I'm not a dick. Like I'm not deliberately saying it in a way that I know will hurt someone or whatever, right? There's a way to deliver the message, right? So that's important. And the last one that we had here, which this is probably the most important thing generally, is being an example of what you're trying to teach, So that's the biggest thing for people to take you seriously as a teacher or as a coach or whatever, is if you're not an example of the things you're saying, man, do the kids call bullshit real fast on that.
Yeah, the thing is with that is a lot of people, like in my experience, will talk about standards, right? This is what we're all about and stuff. But then you look at their actual life, and the thing is, when you're coaching or teaching, you're around these people on a very, very extreme level, right? Coaching a team, you're with them as much as sometimes their parents are. And if you're professional or junior or whatever, then you're with them more than anybody. That's who you deal with. So if you're preaching, like as a teacher, so like as a coach, let's say, I'm asking you, Eric, to go out there every shift and give me 110% every shift. And if you make a mistake, it's like blah blah blah. I get frustrated with you, and I slam the doors, and I lose my shit because you're not giving me 100%. But did I come in 100% as a coach? Kids, players read that. Are you actually all in? Because if you're not, then shut up.
Yeah.
And it's like, an example of excellence in everything that you do is should be like if you're leading a team, right? There's nothing like talking, talking to a group of kids when you're the hockey coach and you're talking about they're not in shape and they're lazy, but like it all takes is one look at you and say, well, how would you know?
Yeah.
How would you know? You haven't done anything, man.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go into coach and you're trimmed up a little bit, and I'm not saying you're built like a statue, but you look like you give a shit about yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like, but that's important. You look like you care, you act like you care, you carry yourself like you care, you care like that whole professionalism, that image of excellence is there. Your attitude's good. You don't snap. You tell kids to keep discipline, but you snap every 4 seconds. That's not the same. So if you can be the person that if you could be the example for the kids or the players or the students, whatever, however you want to say it, then you have a lot more credibility. Then they know that you're not just a bunch of fluff. So and for me, that goes a long way. Like that goes huge.
I know.
Someone tells me, give me the ABCs on how life works, and I look at their life and I go, well, like your mess? No, thank you. And that was one of the things, like, and that was one of the things that I really like as a student in school. Because I was not engaged in school. Okay, I'm not encouraging anybody to do that, but that was me. I wanted to play hockey. I didn't care about school. So I remember one day in homeroom in high school, the teacher came in. It was day 2, and he was just a dork. He had a shitty green car. Okay, was that important? Yeah, it is. You know why it's important? Because it showed me he didn't give a shit about anything, or he couldn't afford it. Right, a decent car to get him to school. So both ways was unacceptable to me. He came in the second day of school and he had his pen broke and he had ink all over his shirt. Didn't comb his hair, had green pants. He stood stupid. Like everything about him was like, what is wrong with you? No, I'm serious. He'd come to the desk and he'd like this, but he had this stain and he wore the shirt all year. I'm like, I don't want to learn one thing not one thing from you, not one thing.
Yeah.
Because whatever you're selling, I ain't buying. I don't want to be like you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And that's the same as your coach.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, if you just don't have the high
you're not believable,
standard,
man.
it's like I don't want to learn.